Tēnā koutou katoa e te whānau. Ko Ranger Amy aho. I'm Ranger Amy. I want to introduce you to Ricky, someone who's inspired me for years in parks. Kia ora, Ricky.
Kia ora, Amy. Kia ora koutou katoa, nau mai haere mai, ki te kaiawhina o te taiao, a program that we're putting together, a little short series highlighting some of the beautiful aspects found within our native ngahere.
Awesome. I find our forest so beautiful, especially this tree we're standing under, the totara. Can you tell me a little bit more about it, what you know?
One of the ones probably which that the totara is more famous for is the building of waka. And the reason why they used totara wood for building waka was mainly because of its durability. It can stand long periods of time submerged in water without rotting. In terms of the size of a totara, if you compare it to another tree of similar proportions, you would find that the totara is a lot lighter. So it's easier to move than other woods. It's buoyant, and also, as I said, it's durable. The bark as well was used for making food baskets known as patua. So if you ever get the opportunity, go into the museum, the Whare Taonga, and have a look at some of the beautiful food baskets which have been made using the bark of totara, and they're amazing. Look here, Amy, there's a little bit of bark here that's come away from the tree. And normally they put it into an earth oven for the steam to soften it, and then they were able to shape it into the shape that they required. So the totara bark is quite easy to remove from the tree itself, just by cutting it, and you can actually, it comes down in sheets, and then they were able to, as I said, manipulate it into the shape that they required.
Fantastic. I wonder what other rako we can find in this forest that had traditional uses. Shall we go and have a look?
Let's go. Yes, Amy, yeah, so te toki was used in various ways. If you got stung, you can bruise the leaves and apply it to the area where you've been stung to take down the swelling. It was used also for hiika, or fishing with a fishing rod.
Ah.
Because the young te toki, they grow really tall and straight, and so it was good for that type of thing. Also, it was used for making the handles for toki, which is the adzes.
So it must be quite hard.
It is, yeah. No, it is very hard, yeah. The berries also were used. They were placed into a kupua, which is a flax woven basket. And maybe you'll see if I can bring one on into the set for us. Maybe if you count to 3 in Te Reo Māori.
Okay, Ricky. Tahi, rua, toru.
Here it is.
What? Amazing. So what was this used for?
So as I said, this is a kupua. The berries were placed into an earth oven. They were softened with a stone, kohatu, and then they were placed into the kupua. These two straps here were lashed to 2 wooden handles. So between you and I, if we're doing it for real, you'd have a wooden handle on your side, I'll have one on my side. And like wringing out a wet towel, you'll be twisting to this side,
okay.
I'll be twisting to that side. And you notice that there's a little hole right in there.
Yep, I can see it.
Yep. And so the oil would seep through the weave, and normally they would have another woven basket, finer again. And what they were trying to do is get at any of the grit that was in the oil.
Wow.
And once they extracted all the oil, then the oil was actually used for miri, which is massaging. If you had sore ears, it was placed into your ears as a healer. So it was used as an ointment.
And what was this made of?
Harakeke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did anyone eat these berries or the birds?
So the red flesh of the te toki berries are edible.
Awesome.
So yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to find another tree. Do you think we can continue on our walk?
Definitely, let's go. So Amy, I've brought you in here to have a look at this te koka. If you're out in the bush and you want to light a fire, one of the best things to use is the leaves of te koka. Because no matter, even if it's raining, you'll always find dead leaves that are dry beneath the overhanging branches at the top. So just by pulling them down like this, they remove pretty easily. So what you're trying to do is create a kindling.
Okay.
So the more you get, make your little pile, and that'll give you the kindling to start your fire. Other uses for it as well with this, the leaves again, the dead leaves, is making rope. So rope made out of te koka is a lot stronger than harakeke. If you grab that side
Okay.
and maybe pull against me, I want you to see if you can break it.
I'm not very strong, Ricky.
Well, it shows you the strength of the rope. So a friend of ours, they broke down and they needed to tow the car. They had no tow rope.
No.
So she got out and she actually ended up by weaving a tow rope, and then they were able to tow the car. So that sort of just gives you an idea of the strength of the rope made from te koka.
Wow.
Other uses for te koka was making sandals, known as parere. And,
Parere.
so again, these are made out of the dead leaves of te koka. Have a look. They are thick, mainly used in times when people were going on journeys and if they were crossing over areas where the under feet was too sharp on their feet. But most of the time our people were barefooted because their feet were very strong. But when they required parere, they would make a pair and they were able to cross those areas protected. Other uses as well, just looking at te koka itself, it was used as a food source. Normally when you get a large tree, one of the ways of promoting growth or new growth out of the side was putting an incision into the side of the tree, and that would actually sprout another new shoot. And once that new shoot grows to a certain size, it's just a matter of breaking off the stem, peeling away the green leaves, and in the heart of it is a little, the heart, and they call it koata.
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 And have you ever tried that?
I have tried it, yeah. It's a bit sour, but you can boil it with meats and with other vegetables as well and soften it up. And
Okay.
It's nice.
So this is the karaka tree.
It is a karaka tree. The trees were planted around kainga, around villages, to not only provide the people with berries, which they could consume after treatment, but it also attracts birds to the area. But in terms of the berries, around summertime, from about December onwards, you'll see karaka trees full of laden with berries. The technique used for ridding it of the toxin was putting a loosely woven kete into running water into a river, and over about 6 weeks the water would flow through the kernels, leaching out the toxin.
And then they were safe to eat.
Then they were safe to eat, but again they would roast them.
Okay.
So yeah, there's lots of old photographs of people actually roasting them on fires. My grandmother, when we were children, what she would do was boil them up to about 6 hours and keep changing the water in between and then roasting them in the oven. So there was a bit of a modern slant on a traditional way of actually preparing the karaka berries. So this one here, karamu is a generic name given to a lot of the coprosmas, but this particular one is a Coprosma robusta, so it's a bit stronger or tougher in the leaves. All of the Coprosma berries are edible, so these can all be eaten, the orange ones.
Okay. It doesn't really taste like a berry. It tastes like grass.
Like grass, okay. Yeah, I've never ever heard that said before, but one of the traditional ways of using karamu was to mimic the sounds of birds. So we're just using the leaf, you pick off the end where the stem is.
Okay, can I try too?
You can, yep, have a try.
All right, I'm going to get this one here. Yep.
Fold the outer edges in, shiny side in.
Oh, shiny side in, okay.
Create a tunnel so you can see through it.
I think I can see through it.
Okay, now with the other thumb and finger, block off the bottom so no air can escape out the bottom, like so.
This is pretty tricky.
And now put your lips up to the entrance.
Yep.
And blow down it.
That sounded like a bird. I don't know if I...
There's the birds coming out. See them. And remember, finally, if you're going out into the forest environment, be cautious. Don't pick any berries or any plant materials that you're not quite sure of, go with somebody who knows what they're doing, because you can get into trouble if you pick on the wrong plant. And I know this has actually happened to other people. So yeah, but also respect the forest environment.
Thanks, Ricky, that's great advice. So everyone, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see more videos like this celebrating our parks in Tamaki Makaurau.